Good morning. I greet you in Jesus' name. Do you ever wonder what the most important aspect of our faith is? What its essence is? Against what standard our faith may be measured? Well, in today's gospel story, Jesus gives us the key, which he illustrates in a very dramatic way. In this parable, Jesus challenges our attitude towards other people, how we see them, and how well we treat them. This challenge is, after all, no surprise to us. In Jesus' teaching, which he lives out, he underlines that loving others is fundamental to everything. Set in the context of judgment, which with Jesus in the role of the King, appropriate for this, our Christ the King Sunday, the King addresses two groups of people, the sheep and the goats. He says that they are either blessed or cursed, and they will either enter into the kingdom or depart from him. The criterion used for this judgment is whether or not they fed those who were hungry, gave drink to those who were thirsty, welcomed the strangers, clothed those who were naked, cared for the sick, and visited those in prison. The story highlights the importance of not only showing compassion towards other people, but also putting our love into action. We know that these are important things to do, that for our faith to have meaning, we must live it out. We must be practical about it. I'm sure you would agree with the words of James chapter 2, verse 17, which go as follows. So faith by itself, if it has no works, is dead. This is to be expected. But Jesus is saying something more in our story about why we should put faith into action. For me, the crux of the story comes in Jesus' words. Truly I tell you, just as you did it to one of the least of these, who are my brothers and sisters, you did it to me. There are two remarkable things in these words of Jesus. The first is that engaging in acts of mercy towards the least takes on a kind of divine or sacred quality. In doing them, we are unknowingly doing them to Jesus himself. Or put another way, amazingly, we encounter God in meeting the needs of others. In our story, there is a surprise to both groups of people. They both say, "When did we see you hungry, thirsty, etc.?" It is unexpected to us too. The second significant thing about these words of Jesus is that those who are considered to be the least are described as Jesus' brothers and sisters. They are described as family, implying there's a relationship with them, a responsibility towards them. Feed and care for your own family. That is expected of you. But don't ignore these other people. They are also part of your extended family. Jesus redefines family. He extends our understanding of family. In other words, he is saying that the recognition in one another of Ubuntu, or common humanness, our humanity, does not have ethnic or cultural boundaries. If we are one global human family, our concern for the well-being of others should not be limited. This should not be news to us. After all, in the parable of the Good Samaritan, we know that Jesus broadens the concept of who our neighbor is, including those who are very different from us. And the ultimate challenge is to love not only our neighbor, but our enemy too. At this point, some of you may be saying to yourselves, Surely we cannot respond to everyone's need. We cannot give to all who ask us. We cannot care for everyone around us. We cannot feed the world. We only have so much. Our small actions may inspire others to act too. Think of the feeding of the multitudes, how far a few loaves of fishes went. When we make available the few resources we have to share with others, they go a long way. This is how God's economy works. Some years ago, I heard a story, a true story. There was a young boy in India who had heard about starving children in other parts of the world. He was so moved by this that he wanted to meet their need. So he asked his father to help him. His father said that he didn't know what to do, but he had a friend on the local council who he thought could help, so he gave him the money. The councillor didn't know what to do, what difference he could make. So he passed it on to somebody in national government, feeling that maybe he could make a difference. Even at a national level, that person felt that he couldn't do anything meaningful. However, he knew that the Prime Minister was about to attend an international conference of world leaders to launch a fund to tackle development and world hunger. So he took this money with him to the conference, and it became the first contribution made to this fund, where the story of the boy from India was told, and lots of other funds were contributed to this fund. We never know what our seemingly insignificant contributions can make or impact on others. Who are the least? As well as being hungry, thirsty, uncared for, not welcomed, imprisoned, the least may also be those who are unnoticed or ignored, looked down upon, or least valued. Those who are vulnerable or powerless, the very marginal people whom Jesus identified with, as we have learnt. So let us take our actions further. Feed the hungry, but also ask why they are hungry. Let us also commit ourselves to dismantle systems that keep people in poverty and imprison them in a life that can only lead to death. As we approach the start of the annual 16 Days campaign against sexual violence and gender violence this week, let us commit ourselves to work against patriarchal attitudes and behaviors that disempower women and leave them open to abuse. Let us take time to listen to women, believe their stories, empower the girl child, build within her strength and resilience. Let us challenge to xenophobic attitudes and actions that allow people to march into our neighborhood and attack and loot stalls of foreign nationals with little response from the authorities, as happened 2 weeks ago on our doorstep and is still continuing. Let us speak out against discrimination and oppression. Let us as a church embrace those who seek recognition, friendship, and protection from us. May our sense of good neighborliness transcend national borders. I know widening our circle of concern, as I call it, and responding to the least can be risky. It certainly takes courage, but it is what Jesus asks of us today. May we be encouraged that in taking action, we take action for Jesus himself. Surely a great privilege. I invite you to be part of this active support and engagement in Jesus' reign. As we approach Advent Sunday, a new start for us, for this is the essence of our faith.